And in this video, we're going to cover some of the final details, hopefully, of this plane. I want to choose my top plane. That'd be my XY. And I can start a sketch simply by importing this point. I can also show my top view. And I'll make two lines. One here, and one all the way to the end. Shift V to add a vertical dimension, and let's go with something like 3.75 here, and we'll make this something like 3.75 divided by 2. We're fully constrained there. Next, let's tasks close. We want to make a couple of datum planes here. I'll choose datum plane. I can choose this line and this point, and that's the exact point that we need. So we're going to say OK there, and I can go ahead and sketch on this plane. I'm going to keep it simple. Go to the back view. I'm going to create a circle. Now, tangency to B-spline is not something that FreeCAD supports. So as an alternative, if I hide my plane so I can select things, so I can use my edge import and import that edge there. I'm not sure if that's the actual edge that I want. So I'm going to import just that point. That's better. We're going to make, and I might have to go into wireframe to select this. Wireframe, front view. There you go, select that point. We'll make that coincident. From here, we're going to take the origin and merge our circle center with it, and we should be fully constrained, just like that. So we're going to tasks close. Let's import another datum plane, or create another datum plane. We'll choose this line with this endpoint, and I'll select normal to edge, and that gives us the plane that we want. I'm going to make a very small circle. Shift R for radius, and we're going to make that 0.05. Close that. So there I have my very small circle. Let's choose our view as is, and our sketch that makes the very back face is going to be sketch 004. With that highlighted, I can choose utility to loft. I can add this section, and I can add this section, and we get a nice bubble shape on our tail. The shading makes it look a little bit off, so one adjustment that we can do to make it look a little bit better than that is if I edit my sketch, go to wireframe, make that for construction, and we can pull the center and make that circle a little bit smaller, maybe 1.5. We'll close that, and that looks a little more realistic. A little bit, like a very little bit. We'll see if this will accept a fillet. Nope. So you may have to play around with that back cone. I'm not entirely happy with that, but it's going to take me too long to go through and make it look good for right now. The next thing to do is real Corsairs have a wire running from the tail to just behind the cockpit, and we can add that in as well. That'd be our ZY plane that we can create a sketch on. I'm going to go kind of deep from inside the plane, and I can wireframe this. Again, this is pretty freehand. Whoa. There we go. We're going to merge these points. We're going to go horizontal. We're going to bring that in just a little bit. Lower that down. We can close that sketch, and again on the ZY plane, we'll import this line and create another line. We can close that. Highlight this sketch, we can do a revolve. I'm going to select a reference here and choose the line that we just sketched. I can hide this sketch and take our draw style to as is. Excellent. But on second thought, I think I'll take my revolution and I'm going to add a little line here to give it more of a flat top. Right about there. And we didn't have any rebuild errors there, so that's great. Next thing, we can do a little simulated cable. To do that, I think I'm going to do the same plane. Let's go with the YZ plane. Create a sketch. Alright, and from this sketch, let's create a line here. We'll make it something like 125. Maybe I can import an edge, maybe I cannot. Well, I can import that point. So we're going to merge those. Change that to negative. Really? Come on. One, 2, 5. Choose this point here. I don't think we can do a tangency to B-spline. I think we can. No, we can't do point on B-spline either. That's alright, we'll just eyeball it. Come down here. And let's choose perpendicular. Close that sketch. On the same plane, the YZ plane, create a sketch, import part of our old sketch, that bottom line. There we go. We'll close that. Let's revolve. Let's select a reference here. Let's choose sketch 042. We'll choose a revolution. Of course, it gives us the wrong revolution, so we're going to specify a reference and the sketch we've just made. Get back to as is. That would be somewhat indicative of our cable. Finally, we'll want to join our cockpit with the body of our plane. So I choose these two. Let's go to the part workbench, and we're going to join. Now this is a single body. You can see we have a firm axis, or tangent line, not even tangent line, but a firm line where these faces intersect, and that allows me to be able to do a fillet if I want. And I've done a very small fillet all the way around. You can always increase that. There's a 1 millimeter fillet on our canopy. One more thing that I've almost forgotten. We're going to see if I can do this with the Fusion. I don't think we can, but we'll try it. Alright, so I got this active body. We're going to create a sketch on the YZ plane. And I want to add some of the fins that you find on the Corsair. Let's wireframe this. We're going to go perpendicular here. Add another there. And perpendicular, right? So I'm going to say A for angle now. We're going to set the angle of this to be something like 10 degrees. We're going to make this thin, right? Something like 0.5. And so that is sticking above. And I'll lengthen that just a hair. We're going to close that. Now sketching on the same plane. Actually, we don't need a sketch on the same plane, so I'm going to delete that sketch that just got created. I can hide my YZ plane. With sketch 44 highlighted, we're going to choose Revolve. And you can tell it hasn't got quite the right plane there, so we're going to choose our axis. To be our y-axis. There we go. I want to say symmetric to plane. I want to choose something like 20 degrees. Maybe 25. There we go. Now I can choose polar pattern. I'll choose revolution 004, and I can probably hide this. Choosing revolution 004. I'll choose my y-axis for my polar pattern. And I can add a bunch of features. What would it look like with 15? A little bit dense for 15. Let's try 9. That's a bit better. I'll bump it up to 11. I'll say OK on that. Alright, maybe I can hide this and show my fusion. And we're able to fuse the fusion. As funny as that sounds. But that is our Corsair. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I am duly impressed. And I wish you the best on your FreeCAD journey and hope to see you in the next video.